Done. Recording is
okay. Okay. So welcome to Germany. I think we believe most of you are on your first moment here. I'm saying here, but I'm not in Germany right now, but you know what I mean. We believe you're just arrived or have been here for not short, or you're still on your way to come and prepare to be here with us. Arushi, can you mute? Okay. And we're really happy to have you here. And the objective of this event is to introduce to you a few fun tips and curiosities, fun facts about Germany that we learned. I learned, Arushi learned after being here for a while now. I'm in Germany for 2 years. Arushi is for a year around, right? Almost a year. So there are many things that we learned. Some of them we wish we had DEGIS to teach us. Others we kind of learned on the way. So we want to share a bit of our knowledge about it. So this is the agenda for the day. We're going to do some rounds of introductions. We already started, but we are many here. There's still someone who's not muted. Arushi, can you please mute people? And after we're gonna go through these tips that we want to share with you, what we're calling do's and don'ts in Germany. And then we're gonna have a networking space. No, I was muted too. We're gonna have a networking space so you can get to know each other. And we're gonna just finish talking a bit about some DEGIS opportunities if you don't know yet. Some of you already heard us talking about them, but feel free to stay over and also ask your questions about it, because we're gonna have, my dog is leaving, sorry. she opens the door sometimes. Okay, so I'm your host for today. My name is Carolina, you can all call me Caro. I'm DEGIS VP Marketing and Community, and I come from Brazil. I'm in Brazil right now in their moment, so it's morning, but I'll be back to Germany by the end of this month. I live in Berlin because I studied public administration at the Helsinki School of Governance in university. I've done my master's there. And since last year, I've been working with DEGIS. Now I'm full-time there, working as VP Marketing and Community. We also have Arushi here supporting us today. She also works in DEGIS. Do you want to just introduce yourself quickly, Arushi?
Hello, everyone. If all of you some of you might know me from your applications and everything. My name is Arushi. I am from India. I'm currently in India. We're all at our homes. I also live in Berlin. I study at FU Berlin. I'm doing my master's in mathematics, and I work with DEGIS since a year, although I'm not in Germany since a year. So my relation with DEGIS is older than what I have with Germany. So yeah, I mean, I know most of you are still at your hometowns and home countries, and this is an opportunity where you can get to know your country, your aspirant country better. And let's just stick to the meeting and we'll see everything. And we also have a lot of open questions later on. So it would be the best use of your time if you stick to the end.
Sure. Well said, Arushi. Thank you so much. So we're going to start with the introductions, and I would ask you to go to the chat of Zoom, and you can share this on the chat. So your name, where you are from, where and what you're studying. So which city in Germany you're studying, and which topic, which subject, if you're doing a master's or if you're doing bachelor, which topic. And you can also feel free to share your LinkedIn and Instagram so people can connect to you. So let's go. So we have already Micaela Velasquez. Where are you from, Micaela? Tell us. You sound Latin. I'm Latin too. I like to know. Oh, from Peru. Lindo. I know Peru is very nice. You're studying Munich, Master Sustainability. Very cool. Arushi already introduced herself. Arushi from India, living in Berlin, doing her master's in mathematics. Who else? Dipan from India. studying Kassel, doing student colleague. Okay, he shared his Instagram. Kentucky from India, doing Bachelor in Information Engineering. Mahmoud from Egypt, studying Hosenheim, doing a Bachelor in AI. Devansh from India, studying for the Bachelor in Informatics. Yuvraj, Allen University. Doing a master's in advanced materials. Kai from Taiwan, fashion and design management in Berlin. Oh, very cool. You should join the CC in Berlin, the city chapter in Berlin. Arda from Istanbul, doing an MBA in engineering in HW Berlin. Nice to see Berlin people. Let's hang out. Shreyas from India, Bangalore. I love Bangalore. Doing industrial automation in Fresenius. Which city is this? Is the city for Fresenius? Nicole from Brazil. Oi, Nicole, tudo bem com você? Muito bom ver uma conterrânea aqui. In Lingo, Masters in Applied Entrepreneurship. Sanjoti from India, studying Potsdam, our neighbor in Mumbai, in Berlin, Master in the Data Science. Akanksha from India, doing a Bachelor in Mechanical Engineering. Shripriya from India, doing a Master's in Interdisciplinary Neuroscience in Goethe University this fall. Very cool. Isai Mahmad, I think, Isai from Pune. Pune is cool too, I know it. Doing a Master's in Hydrogen Technology and Economy in Ingolstadt. Share the LinkedIn. Cool, thanks for sharing the link. Some people are sharing as direct message. Unfortunately, if we do that, people cannot see your message. So share to everyone, please. So Muhammad Shab from Afghanistan, doing a Bachelor of Economics and language course in Bochum. Nice. Important to learn the language. You're gonna see it's important. Onkar from Mumbai, India, studying in Berlin, Global Production Engineering Masters. Mairaj from Pakistan, enrolled in TUMS in Munich, right? So I'm master's in mathematics. So here, a friend of yours, Rushi, you can talk. You can talk about mathematics. Ronnie from India, joined Winter in Ilmenau, doing international business economics. Whoa, so many people. We're so happy you're sharing all of this. Cool. Don't forget to share your LinkedIn so we can all connect, guys. It's very cool to make connections, and this is a learning I had living here, because sometimes when you move to a new country, especially if you already have some kind of experience in your home country, most of the times you have to restart building a network, professional network, and that can be really challenging. So if you can start from now already connecting to people who are pursuing an education, pursuing a career here in Germany, it's always good, because you're gonna access more opportunities and learn together. So that's what I really suggest you to do. Okay, I think we know many of us here. We are from very different places, which is amazing. It means we're a really diverse group, and by diversity we can learn a lot, I believe. We're gonna have another moment to connect very soon, but it's very nice to meet you, really. It's an honor for us to count on you right now and to connect. And on this session now today, I just want to present a few very initial tips of learnings we had here in Germany about what you should do and you shouldn't do at all when coming to Germany. And maybe some of these things will be natural for you, others can be quite weird, but I'm gonna explain everything, and we're also gonna have some space for questions. Feel free to keep sending your LinkedIn's, okay, on the chat. And use it a lot if you don't want to open your mic or just send questions. They're gonna be watching anyway. Okay, so first thing is to really respect the rules. And of course, everyone needs to respect rules. Rules are there to make society works, and they exist for some reason. But what I mean here is like really respect the rules in Germany, because Germans take rules really seriously. It's what made their society work. It's what made everything go well. And Germans in special, like were people who were born in German, they take this really, really seriously. And like I put here a gift from the Ampelman. I don't know if you know this. If you're living in Berlin, you're gonna see this a lot because these are the lights for pedestrians. So if you're crossing the street, you're gonna see this. And every city changes. Like for example, I know that Bonn is Beethoven face, and because it's very cultural. And if you cross the street at a red light, so when you're not supposed to cross and you are caught, and there are cops in the streets taking a look at this, you can be fined. Yeah, and many things you do wrongly can be fined here in Germany. You're going to see this too. And besides being fined, as I told you, Germans really believe in their rules. So you might get some people really angry, especially if you do something wrong in front of children, because parents don't and older people don't want you to give bad examples. So stick to the rules, pay attention to what's going on around you. We know some things might be confusing because they're written in German, but learn what are the keywords about this. Another thing, for example, riding public transport without a ticket, you can get in real trouble if you do this. So there's you're not gonna see a place where you have to present your ticket when you're bored because they believe that you're doing things correctly. But we will have many people checking randomly if you have a ticket, and if you don't, you're gonna be seriously fined. So don't do this. As a student, you get benefits for public transportation, so benefit of this, and don't do things wrongly. Germans really cared about rules, so this is what I said, really respect them. Second thing that I wanted to share with you is that this is a big culture in Germany, like recycling, upcycling, respecting the environment, being extremely sustainable. It's something super important for Germans. And we have this big environmental crisis happening globally. And since always, like for the past years, Germany has been taking the lead on this, on changing practices from the big perspective, but also in an individual perspective. And one thing very important, for example, is to separate waste. You're gonna see that in your building where you're gonna live, they're gonna have different bins, and they're gonna ask you to separate your trash properly. If you don't know how to do it, it's by colors. Ask your neighbors, ask your landlord, what are the rules. Respect the times for doing that, because most of buildings will have quiet times after 7 p.m. or over weekends, so you cannot like just throw trash over there because this can disturb neighbors. But know how to separate your waste first, because it's important, right? It helps the environment, it helps things to work well. And second, because you can also get fined and get shouted if you do things wrongly in this regard. And the second thing, like besides this whole environmental crisis the world is facing, Germany specifically, I don't know if you've been reading about this, is facing right now an energetic crisis, an energetic challenge because of the war and Russia's invasion to Ukraine, and the relations are quite bad, and we might face some restrictions on use of energy and gas, especially now during winter. So saving is very important because we never know what can happen so far, and this is something that we can't tell you what's gonna happen because we're still following up with all the news and everything. And another tip that I wanted to give you, if you are open for used stuff that can help you and can help you save money, and you don't mind about using used stuff and things like this, you can look for free your stuff groups on Facebook, like Free Your Stuff Berlin, Free Your Stuff Munich, Free Your Stuff Darmstadt, or things like this, because these are groups where people are just giving away things they don't need anymore, and that can be in good use for other person. So for example, I got an office chair for myself for free once because someone was giving it away, and I just said I want it. I went there and I picked them up. You can do this, and it's a quite a big culture in Germany to do that. Another thing that you can start observing when you arrive is that, like, many people who are like, okay, I'm cleaning up, I'm moving out, or I'm buying new things. I just get everything I don't need into a box and I put it on the streets. So anyone who passes by can pick them up. Or also furniture, you can see furniture in good state lying on the street, just so people can pick them up and use them again. So if you don't mind about this, if you care about having a sustainable life, this is also a tip for you. Just keep looking for people giving away things. You can also buy very cheap used things in websites like eBay, Kleinanzeigen, or even on Facebook. People will offer very, very cheap used stuff if you don't want to buy everything new, because this can be expensive as well. So this is the second tip. So recycle, upcycle, and respect the environment. Understand that sustainability is a very, very important topic in Germany right now. Third tip, take off your shoes when entering a home. I know for some of you, this is not new. For example, I was telling that I lived in India and actually learned how to do this in India, like to, before entering someone's place, just take off your shoes. But for example, in Brazil, this is not a thing, like we just walk in. But in India and then in Germany, this is also very important. They have this understanding that the streets are dirty, like everything's happening there, cars, pets, and people walking, and you don't want to bring this kind of dirt inside your home, right? It's to be the cleanest place. So you're gonna see when you enter a home, you're gonna see that most houses will have like racks, so you can put street shoes, like you take off your shoes and you put there on a corner, destined to this. And if you visit someone, most of people, and this is also a tip, will offer you house shoes, like comfy shoes, slippers, like these ones on the gift. Or for example, something that they use it a lot in Germany are Birkenstocks. I don't know if you heard of them. You can Google. It's this specific German shoe that Germans really love to use with socks, and it grows on you. It can be quite like nice to wear, and you can see this a lot in Germany for now, and people use it as home shoes quite oftenly. And it's nice for you also to offer this to your guests. Okay, this is the third tip. So take off your shoes when entering a home. Fourth tip, always be punctual. This is what more widely known, that Germans are really strict. It's very related to what we said before about the rules and sticking to rules and be really structured. And punctuality, it's a big thing in Germany, and you're gonna get into trouble if you're not punctual here. So show up on time, keep your agreements. If you cannot show up on time, if you see that you're getting late, let people know in advance that, okay, I'm getting late. Can we agree on a new time? But don't let people know, okay, I'm already late, and then you tell people, because you're gonna get some people really angry at this. So the tip here is like, plan yourself to get to places already, take into consideration that you might get traffic and other things might get into your way. So plan yourself ahead. And the tip is plan yourself to get at least 10 minutes ahead of time, because then you're gonna be sure that everything's gonna be well, no one's gonna be angry, and you're gonna get your stuff done. And this works specifically for government appointments. So when you're doing your visa appointment, your Anmeldung, city registration, you're gonna have a scheduled time. Show up there in time, please, please. So this is the fourth tip, so always be punctual. The fifth tip is carry cash in your wallet. This is weird for some people, especially when you're living in countries that are using more and more cards everywhere. But in Germany, there's still a big culture of not accepting cards in restaurants, in stores, and things in general. Like, unless of course you're buying on the internet, then of course you can use your card. But if you go to bars, restaurants, they might not take card. So always be prepared for that. A good thing is that you can find ATMs to withdraw money pretty much everywhere, in every corner. But just be aware of withdrawing taxes. So for example, what I do, I plan ahead the amount of money I would need in cash, and I withdraw everything I need by the beginning of the month. And so I don't need to keep doing it over and over every time I need money. So this is a good way of controlling how you're going to spend money. And an extra tip I wanted to give you is keep your coins. You're going to see that you're going to get many coins, because there are 2 euro coins, 1 euro coins, and as you're going to spend a lot in cash, you're going to need a lot of change. So you're going to get it, and there you have even like 1 cent coin, and you're going to get every cent you need in change. Be sure of that. And when you see you have, I don't know, over 50 euros in coins, and this can happen a lot. And one tip that I give to you, and it's something that I learned recently, if you go to some supermarkets, you're gonna find some machines called Coinstars. Here, I'm gonna type it here, Coinstar. It's pretty much this machine where you get all your coins, you just throw it there, and then it gives you like a ticket, and then you can just go on the supermarket, because it's inside of supermarkets that you find this. You can just spend in products, or you can go to the cashier and get money back. Like if you have like 50 euros in coins, they give you 50 euro bill. So this is also a tip. I always keep like a jar of coins. So every time, I don't want to carry all the coins because they're heavy, but I always keep putting them on this jar so I can have lots of coins. But coins are also important, especially 1 euro and 2 euros. When you go to supermarkets, because you need the coins to free the charts. So always have like a 1, 2 euro coin with yourself, because they're going to be useful for you. Okay, this is the 5th tip: carry cash in your wallet. You're going to learn that this is actually a huge thing. And another thing that I want to tell you, this is something that we are always in doubt of, how to address people. And in Germany, in general, they're quite formal. And you're going to see this, that they have a bit of a social rules. They don't address people they don't know by their first name. If they have like no acquaintance of this person, specifically if you're dealing with someone who is a bit higher than you in hierarchy, so in business or in university, if you're going to talk to a professor or to the dean, it's in doubt. If you don't want to like just cause people feeling you're awkward or something, know their last name, address to their last name, and be respectful and kind with older people. You're going to see that you might have heard this, Europe is an older country, right? So we have a big population of elderly, and you're going to have to deal with them a lot. So be respectful, because they're going to be kind to you too if you're a soul. And another thing is like, don't play with kids without parents' consent. This is also a big thing. This also applies to pets in general. Like, Germans are quite reserved, and unless you talk to the person and say, hey, can I interact with your kid or hold your kid, don't touch the kid. Just because, for example, in Brazil, we kind of don't have this kind of worries. We just see a kid, the kid interacts with us, we're going to play with the kid. But here, it's always nice to ask the parents first if you can play, interact, hold the kid, or things like this. And a fourth thing is like, filming and photographing people is not allowed without their permission. So don't take random pictures of people on the street. They're going to be angry about that. There's a huge concern about data protection and privacy. So don't try to do that. For example, many people go to the gym and like to record themselves while they do exercise, things like this, to show to instructor, things like this, a coach. And be really careful about this, because you can get people angry and like and I don't know, you don't just want to avoid this kind of thing. So just keep in mind that people are more formal, people like privacy, and be observant. Like, don't overgo yourself. that's it. I saw that there's a question here. I'm gonna answer right away, okay? And if you have more questions, you can keep sending them on the chat as well. 7th tip is understand the political history and context. And talking about Europe in general, and specifically country, we know there's a lot of history behind it, right? It's like a really old country, many things really involved to world history, and you're gonna soon find out that Germany is deeply affected by its past. Especially, we talk a lot about World War II. You're gonna see this remembrances of World War II everywhere, like memorials and museums, and this is something that they're taught in school from a very early age. And the tip here is avoid jokes on the topic. Like, humor is nice and dealing with things with uplift spirit is nice, but they don't take jokes on these topics about far right movements and the past of the country and all the bad things the leaders of the country have done. You can ask about it, of course, but because it's nice to have curiosity and try to understand, but try to do this in a respectful way, because then they're gonna be okay into addressing it. They talk a lot about this. You're gonna see this soon. And a very good tip that I give to you is to read the news to understand what's going on, because many things are going on. Like, there's a new government since this year. There are many rules changing specifically for immigrants. There's the war happening here in Europe. There's energy crisis. Many things are happening, and there are very good sources to know this kind of things in English if you don't speak German yet. So these are a few sources that I give to you. So DW, I don't know if you know this, Deutsche Welle, we have very good content in English, including on Instagram. There's a good one called The Local. You can subscribe to it and get very exclusive content. There's this website that I like a lot called I Am Expat. And you can also subscribe to DEGIS newsletter, because we're always sharing the most important tips. If you to subscribe to DEGIS newsletter, you just have to join our community, which you can find on degis.info/community. Arushi, if you can send this on the chat later, it would be nice. degis.info/community. Eighth thing, and it's very hard for us to say about this, because we never imagined that maybe this can happen in a country like Germany, but actually it happens more than we wanted to admit, because it's about scams. We as internationals, as expats, we are vulnerable because we are out of our country, we are far from our family, and unfortunately, Germany has scammers too. Well, some of them are not even in Germany, but they know that we are here, and they know that sometimes we're desperate for finding a place or getting things done and dealing with bureaucracy, and they take advantage of this. So one that has been happening a lot is, like, someone calls you and say they're from Interpol or the German police and start asking you about some data, credit card or social security. So if you can know 100% that the Interpol or German police are not going to call you. They're not. They're not going to knock on your door, and they're going to show their ID. So if someone calls you and tells they're from Interpol, German police, just hang out. Don't talk to them. And also, same, like, don't never tell people about your data, like phone, email, credit card number, ID, anything on the phone or even on email. That's you're gonna probably be needed to do this by letter if you're needed to, like, for example, for hiring the health insurance and things like this. For Fletcher search, this is very important. If you haven't seen our Germany Starter Pack for students, which I'm going to talk very soon, we have a part only for flat search tips, and specifically scams that usually happen when you're doing flat searching. And but the main thing is that if it's too good to be true, probably it's a scam. That's the saying that we do when we're talking about flat searching, because unfortunately there are many scammers on this area too. And another thing, like if someone comes from DEGIS and tells you you need to pay to be a member, you need to pay this fee or something, usually it's not us. Just let us know, okay? Because we're not gonna ask you for money. This is supposed to be a free entrance community. And as I told you, Arushi already put here on the chat, if you don't know our Germany Starter Pack for Students course, it's free and it's fully available for you right now. And you're gonna learn a bit about scams, especially on flat searching. Then our last tip, before we go for other very fun part, is observe and compare prices. This is different from other countries, might be similar to others, but there's no fixed price set for articles. So you find different prices for articles in different stores. You can, the good thing, especially if you're willing to save money, and we believe you are, is you always compare prices and know what's going on. And there's another thing that you should know, I don't know if you're already aware of this, as we are in this kind of economical crisis happening widely, inflation is happening and prices are changing. So they're increasing, and there are a few measures from the government to ease these a bit, but be aware of what's happening. Like, check the prices, check how much they're increasing, how much they affect your budget and things like this. And you find more tips about how to save money on the Germany Starter Packs for Students as well. Arushi is our queen for budget and saving money, and she gives very, very valuable tips on this. We have a whole class only about saving money in Germany. Go there, and that's Arushi. Every penny saved is a penny earned. Amazing. Cool. Okay, so these are the main tips. Before we go to the networking space, I would like to know if you have any questions about what we explained already, or another general tips that you'd like to know, and maybe we can help you. If you want to ask, you can do it on the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and just ask openly. We're gonna take like 2 questions right now, then we're gonna have another space for questions in the end, but only if there's something like burning in your head right now. You can just unmute or type it on the chat. No. How does Germany give away their used items? Do you mean why or the process? Can unmute yourself. Why? Because they believe in sustainability, because they believe in, okay, maybe I don't need this anymore. I reflect that it's not being used, or maybe I'm moving out. And it's not only Germans, it's like internationals who maybe are moving out and they just have no time for selling things. They just think, okay, I don't need this money, let's just give it away. So they have this kind of mindset. Sometimes they don't just give away, they sell, but for very small prices as well. So it's this kind of mindset that, okay, I just don't want to throw things out. Maybe other people can give a better use of what I'm giving now. It's this kind of mindset Germans have, and people in Germany in general.
Can I say something about this?
Go ahead, Rushi.
For the giveaway part, also, if you guys are coming to Germany during Christmas, some little children might keep their boots and shoes. Even elders might keep them in front of their houses. Please don't pick those. Those are,
yeah, that's true.
That might create you some trouble, cause you some trouble.
Just pick things that are on the street. Things that are on the street are not to give away. Yeah.
And also
a
lot of utensils and everything. When people move out of the country, they don't want to carry these things. And instead of throwing this, they can just give away. So that is the idea for giveaway, right?
Mahmoud, is that if we want to ask you for something, is there a WhatsApp group by mail? You can interact with us here if you want to ask us anything. But we have Instagram. On our Instagram, we're always interacting to anyone who asks us questions, called DEGIS Network. and we have huge Facebook community called International Students in Germany, and you also find international students in every city, like international students in Munich, international students in Wiesbaden. You find all of this, that's how you can pretty much interact to us. But you can also email us if you want. So this is my email of DEGIS if you want to ask me something. Okay, is there anything? Okay, I heard many people in Germany recycle the bottles and they get the receipt for a machine. That's amazing. It's actually not many people do this. Everyone does this because it's not like you're getting more money. You're getting your money back, but it feels like you're earning something. You know, it feels like, okay, now I have extra money. You actually don't, but it's a good thing. Like, for example, you just keep your bottles at home, and then you keep, I don't know, you gather 100 bottles one day, and then you go to the supermarket, you exchange this for money. It can be a lot, and you can spend this in supermarkets too, what can help a lot on your budget. That's the thing, like, because every time you buy a bottle, you actually leave a deposit. It's a way also for recycling. It's something that it's also part of Germany's strategy to make people recycle more. Very good said. This is a very good tip. If someone enrolled at one university, but after a few months, they'll get admission at another university, can the embassy easily change their visa status? This I'm not sure, Mairaj. I don't know if Arushi would know anything about this. Easily, it's a very complicated word to use in Germany. Usually things are not easily in this, like, every time they are involving bureaucracy and government and things like this. So I wouldn't say easily. I think it can be done, because if you get an admission and you get like an official enrollment, it can be done. I just don't think it can be easy. The tip that I give you, just do things as soon as you can, so you don't get into trouble. Do you have anything to add, Arushi or Mika, about this? I'm not really sure. I've never been through this situation.
It's done. It's always an option, and it's an open option, but it does not depend on the embassies in Germany. It depends on German embassies in your respective countries and then their way of working. So if you have such hopes, or if you have such intentions to change stuff, I think it will always be good to get in touch with the visa officer that you initially submitted your documents to. Like, while your interview and while you are submitting your documents to him, just ask them about this doubt, and then they might just give you the correct email address where you have to contact the embassy using, like, the email address which you have to use to contact the embassy and in order to get these things. But it's always an option, of course. If you
All right.
Yeah. University name is not always printed on the visa, as far as I know.
Mine wasn't. I just had
a
student visa with no printing of university. So I don't think it's actually related. You just need the admission to get the visa.
Yeah, so it's usually just depending upon the consulate or the embassy.
Yeah, true. I saw that we have a few other questions. I'm gonna leave them to the end, so stay tuned and we're gonna go back to these questions. I just want to move on to the networking space, which is something that we're really looking forward. I will ask Arushi to open some breakout rooms now, and it's gonna be a random breakout room, so you're gonna get to know people who might be coming from different countries, going to different cities, and the idea is just for you to connect to diverse people that maybe, for example, you can meet someone who's living in a city that you're really willing to visit someday, and you can make friends, and you can also share your experiences and doubts and questions. So this is what we are suggesting you should discuss, like get to know each other and how to adapt and thrive in a new country, especially Germany, and how can you help each other on that. We're gonna give you 15 minutes for getting to know each other, and then we're gonna come back to this room, and then we're gonna go back to the questions as well. Okay, please join the breakout rooms now, and we're gonna be back in 15 minutes. Rush, you can pause also the recording, please. And are people the general? Thank you. There are the general processes, but also some things might change city by city because these things are specific from city, right? Like there's no general control over how visas are given. It's more like it changes the kind of department this happens and how people treat if the place speaks English or not. Some of them won't because people don't know how to speak English in some cities. So it can change, but in general, there's a way of knowing how things might work. And guys, I went through all of this. I understand your struggle and your doubts. That it's not gonna be easy. I'm gonna tell you in advance and be super honest to you. But the plan, the tip is plan yourself ahead. Know every step and how to plan yourself. I don't know, build a spreadsheet, do a to-do list, and that's how you're gonna get by with all of this massive stuff. I'm gonna open for more questions, but before I just want to go really quick through some DEGIS opportunities, so for you to know what we are here, why we are here, who are we, what we're about. I don't know if any of you actually know us. If you just met us recently on Instagram or on Eventbrite and things like this. So we are DEGIS, the German Association for International Students, and we are the largest community for international students in Germany. And welcome to our community. We're really happy to have you here. And our mission is to support every international student in Germany to achieve their dreams and goals. So we want you to be happy, to have friends, to find a job, to build a community, everything you always want. And we think you deserve it. And we know that you are important to this country and to this community. And our line community right now counts on more than 20,000 members, and we have local teams in more than 40 German cities. So you can also join a local team if you want to and attend to their event and things like this. So we are online community, but you can also join our physical communities in the city you're going to live in. And I talked a bit about the German Starter Pack for students. It's a 100 free course to help international students on their first steps in Germany. So pretty much is some videos on YouTube and different topics. So we teach you about everything you need to know about bureaucracy, first steps, things you need to know when you arrive in Germany. We talk about how to save money in Germany. We talk about how the German educational system works and how to study for it. We also teach you about how to make friends and connect to people because it can also be really challenging. And we talk about how to plan yourself to build a career in Germany as well. So it's fun and many topics over here, and we hope you enjoy it. This is the link. I asked if Arushi can please add the link to the chat. So if you want to join us, you just have to register and connecting. You just have to connect to this link. And another opportunity that I want to tell you, I don't know if you already know of this, it's the buddy program. So what is a buddy program? It's an initiative that we have since last year. So we are on our 3rd edition right now. And we pretty much match international students who are arriving for their new semester. So many of you. And we are going to match you to more experienced students. So students that have been here for at least 1 semester and they already know the ways on the city, and we're going to match you with someone that is living on the same city, so you can actually meet and share experiences and tips and things like this. And so new students will get supported and get integrated to the city, and the older students, like more experienced students, will get to support to help someone. And also we will offer a volunteer certificate that it can be quite interesting if you're applying for jobs and want to show how engaged you are. It's quite nice. So this is the link for registering. The registrations are open until September 23rd. So if you haven't registered yet, you still have time. If you have registered already and you didn't, the result, I just saw here someone already registered. The results will come out by the end of this month. So we are still getting registrations from everyone, both local buddies and incoming buddies. And by the end of the month, we're gonna do the matching. And you might get the results by the first week of October. Okay, and in the meanwhile, enjoy our community, attend to our events, enroll to the Germany Starter Pack, follow us on Instagram. You can also get to know other people. Look for your Facebook group, DEGIS Facebook group, which is also international students in some city. You can join and you can get to know other people in this meanwhile. But if you already registered, just for you to know that you're gonna get the who's your buddy by the first week of October. And another opportunity for you is to become a DEGIS volunteer. Being a volunteer can be quite a good experience in Germany, especially because, I don't know if you know this, recruiters really like when you have volunteer experience over here, because it shows you how you are proactive. You connect to some cause as well. You all, of course, can do this in which area you find interesting, but we invite you to also consider DEGIS as an opportunity for you to volunteer. So our city chapters, they are recruiting volunteers, and these are the areas you can work at as a volunteer: HR, marketing, events, business development, or you can take actually a leadership role. So we have some city chapters in many cities, more than 40 cities, but some cities we are actually still recruiting even presidents, because we still want to open the new city chapters. So you are also, if you're interested, it's also a possibility to take leadership on a city chapter that we still need to build leadership over there. And as a volunteer, you can connect to a local community, so get to know more people in the city you're living, help other international students like you, and also gain practical experience that might help you in your career. And also you're gonna earn a volunteer certificate, which is also nice. So this is the link. Arushi sent it on the chat if you want to register as a member, a volunteer member. Now, before we go to the last questions, I just ask you to join me in a very quick activity. I want you to get your phones and scan this QR code, or if you cannot scan it, if you're on a laptop, you can just go to this website, slido.com, and then you type this code over here, and you can just, using an emoji, someone wrote well informed, but if you if you want, you can contribute again. Use one emoji. How are you living this event? I just want to see emojis here. I'm gonna do it too. Whoa, someone said 100, happy. Someone is partying. Someone is in love. Well, some people are sending on the chat. You actually can scan the QR code here. The recording will be sent to everyone who attended the chat, also the slides. So you're gonna have access to this. We're gonna send it to you really soon. Someone sent a set of emojis. This looks so nice, guys. We're gonna take a picture of this and send it to you, because I hope you're all feeling good feelings and feeling strong as well, and smarter, have nice information and everything else. Thank you so much for joining. And now we have a few questions left. Arushi, can you help me reading the questions so we can move on?
Yeah, of course.
The ones that we haven't answered yet. And just before we move on, if you need to leave and you don't have more questions, feel free to do that. Thank you so much for attending. But if you still have questions, just feel free to stay, and we're gonna do a last round of questions and answers. Okay? Thank you so much for everyone who attended. And go on, Arushi. What's the next question?
Yeah, it's tips on traveling through the trains.
So there's this most famous company in Germany for trains called Deutsche Bahn. It's DB. It's the biggest railway station, railway company. So we're gonna find more options. They have this this trains called IC and ICE, which are long distance ones, and they can go from long, like for example, from Berlin to Munich. They also have regional ones. These are RB and RE that are they go shorter distances. They're cheaper and too. So to get to know more about these options they have, you can go to download the DB app. So you can simulate your trips, know how much you're going to cost. You can buy tickets through the app and everything like this. But there's another option that might be cheaper. It's Flixtrain and Flixbus. So you might find some very good offers there that might be cheaper than Deutsche Bahn, but maybe you find less options, but it's also a tip. So I don't know if you want to know anything more specific. If you want, just type it on the chat. Arushi, next.
Yeah, the next one is, as you mentioned, filming and photography is not allowed in Germany. What are the legal actions that the local authorities can take?
So it's filming and photographing. It's not generally forbidden. You cannot just do it without people's consent. So you cannot film someone or take a picture of someone without the person explicit consent. The person can tell the cops, and they can get you actually arrested, and you can pay a fine for this. I don't know specifically which is the law review, but these are things that can happen for sure. The person is entitled to call the cops if they feel like you're being there, the person is being harassed or having their image misused. These are things that can actually happen.
Next one is, while we are on the topic of documentations, any income tax statements or tax documents required from the parents of respective students to show any sort of sponsorship, or does the block account do? I mean, yeah,
it's one or another. It's one or another. If you have a block account, you don't need anything else to prove your secure livelihood. If you don't have a block account and then you have parents' sponsorship, then you have to submit all the papers. But it's one or another. You don't need to do both.
Okay, I applied for the other buddy program results will be out in the first week of October, as Taru said. And next, how to buy a SIM card. Go to all these.
Yeah, you get all this information about buying SIM cards on the Germany Starter Packs for Students. So watch the class about first steps and how to start your life. It's the first course. I am the instructor of the course, so watch it. I give more information there, but pretty much you can buy a prepaid SIM card with your passport. You don't need like a residence permit or anything, but only prepaid. If you want a contract, like a long-term one, you need your residence permit, or at least in a Meldung, I think, a city registration. But you can go to any store of telecom companies, or you can even go to supermarkets. You find really cheap options of SIM cards in supermarkets like Aldi or Lidl, and with like very cheap prices, and then you can buy prepaid cards there. These are a few
Can you-
options for you, but watch the course.
Yeah,
Go
watch
ahead.
the
Arushi.
course. Yes, I was about to say that too. And can you suggest any banks in Berlin and Potsdam in order to open a current account?
I don't know options in Potsdam,
The same.
the general banks, if you want, it depends on what kind of bank you want. If you want like a traditional bank where you can go to a branch and like have a relationship to a manager, the most famous ones are Deutsche Bank, Commerzbank, Sparkasse. Which one? Sorry, Rushi?
Yeah, Sparkasse.
Sparkasse. These are traditional banks, but if you can also open a digital account like Revolut or for example, I have this one called Tomorrow. There's N26. You can also use them as current account, but then you won't have the branch to go. They're digital banks, and you do everything online on the app. The thing is that if you want a current account to get your money from your blocked account, then you need a German bank. So, and some digital banks are not German. So, for example, I know that this Monsi is from the UK. So you cannot get this one to get your money from your blocked account. But these other ones like N26 is German, and Tomorrow is German as well. I have both, and I don't have a. Do you have I don't have an account in a physical bank. I only have digital accounts. I don't know if Arushi has. Do you have any
I
accounts?
use Sparkasse, and also for I mean, in my case, when I was trying to make a bank account, open a bank account, only Sparkasse was my option because everyone else asked me for a residence permit. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like usually physical banks will ask you for the residence permit before you open, and if you need it like super urgently, then it might not be. But then in the long term, of course, you can open an account.
Excuse me, I have a question. If, for example, for the students, are we allowed to get a working contract with a company? Or like, for example, I know we have some restriction for the time or the hours, but for example, if we get a part-time for 1,500, is that okay? Allowed it?
1,500, I think that's okay if it's a working student contract and if it's respecting the number of days.
The hours, right?
Number of hours.
Hours and days. There depends on the contract. It can also be because there are this. You can work up to 250 days or something near. You have to check what kind of contract it is, but it's possible. Like there's for working student and internship, I believe there's no limit for amount.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Welcome. There's other questions here. So Michaela.
Is there a special transportation fee for students? I'm going to study in Straubing and live in Landshut. Okay.
Yeah, Michaela, watch our Germany Starter Pack for Students course. You're gonna know more about the what we call a semester ticket. And yes, there is a special fee. Usually it's provided by the university, so you pay the university directly, and they give you the ticket. But it's supposed to be like way cheaper. And you have to check with your university what are the deals and what's the amount of the semester ticket. It changes from city to city, from university to university.
Yeah. How long does it take for DEGIS to process applications?
For what?
For membership.
It depends. For membership, Arushi can answer this better because she's the one in charge of membership.
Yeah, at least your application has been forwarded and is being taken care of. And in general, I forward applications every 2 days and now every day now, because it's really, there are a lot of applications this semester. But yes, for you to join DEGIS after applying, you can expect about a week or 2, maybe maximum 10 days should be the decent time. Yeah, okay, next. I heard we need to buy prepaid SIM as we need to avoid SIM cards which have contract for 2 years. It's advisable.
Yes, if you are not planning, like for example, I bought a prepaid when I arrived, but I was already planning to stay here for a long term. So after a while, I made a contract that it lasts 2 years, but because I was already planning and I made lots of research on which kind of plan I wanted, but then this worked for me. But if you're not planning to stay here, buy a prepaid for sure.
Okay. How many hours of work and how much can an international student earn on student visa? That's also in the videos.
Yes, you go to the Germany Starter Pack for students. You're gonna find a video called "How to Prepare Yourself for Your Career" with Mika, our president, and he's gonna give you all this information. But there's a limit of hours per week. How much a student can earn, it depends. There's no specific limit for this unless you are having a mini job. Then there's some, I think it's 400 euros per month, 450 per month if it's a mini job. If it's a working student or internship, then there's no actually limit for salary, but there's limits for hours. Go to the course. Yeah, here Mahmoud answered 20 hours per week, which is part-time, right? Yeah.
And then if you work for the university, your hours aren't counted. When you have an internship, your hours also are not counted. If you get that internship via your university, there are a lot of specifications which are all answered in GS in the Germany Starter Pack. So next question is, what does the public health insurance cover in Germany? Are there any limits? Like, is it limited to only general practitioners or something?
The public health insurance in Germany actually covers, it depends on which health insurance you're talking about, because you can go to the website and then they're going to specify everything, like all kinds of services. Usually they cover general practices, internations. It's not only general practices, also some specialities, like for example, I have endocrinologist, my health insurance covers. I have TK, and also it might cover some medication if it's like a prescribed medication, and depending on the kind of medication you have, you can also either cover it or be subsidized. So for example, you just pay 5 euros for some medication and then the rest goes to it's paid by the health insurance. And one thing that I know that it doesn't cover usually, it's dental health. You have to pay this extra, like right to have once a year general cleaning, but it's like really general. I don't know how are your standards for dental health. For me, I prefer to pay extra when I need this, but it's actually for public ones, I consider them quite satisfactory, like they attend to what we need in general, but they also cover some specialties. But you have to go on the detail. If you go to the website of your health insurance, they're gonna specify exactly what kind of specialties and services they will cover. We have time for one more question, and then we finish here. So if we do not get our accommodation through student work because of the high demand, what are the alternatives? Alternatives is to go to a WG, what is how we call a shared apartment, that you have to find it for yourself. You can look for it in WG gesucht, which is a website, and on Facebook as well, but please be aware of scams. We list a few websites and ways to find accommodation besides this on our Germany Starter Pack for students. So watch it. The first video, the first steps, we have a part only for accommodation and tips on how to get a flat. You can go through there. I think we're done for today. We covered a lot here. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We had lots of fun. I did. I hope Arushi also had fun. Did you have fun, Arushi?
I loved it. It was so, everyone was so communicative. That's what I loved about this meeting.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're always happy to have these events. We are constantly having events like this, so feel free to come back later. We're gonna share this recording and this live with you as well. And so you can revisit it and also share with friends, invite them to come. And we're gonna also share all these links that we mentioned here for the Germany Startup Pack Buddy program, volunteering, and everything else. And feel free to follow us on Instagram at DEGIS Network, join our Facebook groups, and be active in our community. We are really happy to have you. Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we're really happy, Barat, that you liked it. Feel free to suggest new topics for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna